AMD is a company that traditionally I've loved a lot. 3 of my 5 systems in my home run AMD CPUs, with 2 of them running AMD GPUs. But the company's been making some questionable decisions lately, and there's a lot of tech news to dive in on. And while certainly I can understand some of those decisions, it's hard for me as a consumer and a gamer, as honestly, I don't fanboy over companies, and the only way that all of us win is holding all companies accountable when they make bad decisions. But before we start today's tech news, let's start on a positive note by telling you about February's giveaway. There are so many good games coming out this year that I thought that the only giveaway for February that made sense was a $70 Steam gift card. Hopefully one of you guys can get that game that you've been waiting for, and if you want to see how to enter, you can check down in the description below. So the big news for AMD is that we have all the information for the new 7000 3DX CPUs. This came out a couple days ago. We know everything from, claimed performance to what their pricing is going to look like. And, a lot of us were stung a little bit. Pricing is what I would consider high, honestly. I was hoping that they were going to be a little more price competitive against Intel, dropping the prices even a little bit more. AMD has raised their prices the last couple of years because objectively they were beating Intel basically in most metrics. So you charge more because you have the better product, which is kind of par for the course, right? But because of just the general expense of motherboards, DDR5 RAM, with the CPUs in general, we were hoping for, something a little more budgetary. And I think that stings a lot of gamers, particularly people who are AMD fans. And so I hope that pricing drops fairly quickly after release, but we'll have to wait and see. One of the things that we'll have to see too is if this upgrade is even worth it. Supposedly there's up to 30% plus performance gains over current generation Intel, although in the slides that AMD released, they were comparing some of this to the 5800 XD, which honestly, anytime a company compares to their own lineup, I see that as a giant red flag. I want to see what you are versus your competitor. Comparing to your last generation, to me, is kind of a cop-out that every company does, by the way. This is not an AMD specific thing. Now, this comes on the tail end of AMD saying that they've been wrong about how they've priced their products, over the last couple of months, saying that, they underestimated demand and overestimated their own pricing, which makes it a little more curious on why I believe the CPUs are coming out at the price that they are, considering AMD's even admitting that they're, not getting that right. This doubly stings because AMD says that due to what they expect is going to be low demand this year, they are going to artificially hold back supply to make sure that they don't essentially overproduce or oversaturate the market and keep their own prices high on their own products. This is not just AMD doing this. This is NVIDIA, this is Intel. All these companies are following suit. And I get it, because we are in a recession. Like, if you don't think that we're in a recession, I'm sorry. I don't normally call people stupid, but I think you're dumb. Like, the amount of layoffs that have happened, the amount of GDP growth here in the United States, we are absolutely in a recession. And I get that these companies are trying to hedge their bets and protect themselves, but the decisions they're making now are going to cost them relationships and trust with consumers down the road, and may end up costing them more money than they're going to supposedly save right now. Now, the other thing with these new CPUs is that you may have to buy Windows 11 if you want to get the most performance out of them. Microsoft has said that they're already partnering with AMD due to the way the architecture on these new CPUs work. Not all the core complexes are going to get that 3D cache, and so basically Windows Scheduler, the programming that determines what cores at any given time are going to be used for everything from games to programs, is going to be specialized so that way it knows to give those 3D cores to essentially your games and things that can take advantage of it, while your non-cache cores are going to basically be used for things that don't necessarily benefit from it as well. This is part of the reason why the 3D cache CPUs have a lower TDP than the non-3D cache, because it's going to basically be a better optimized system. But not everybody's willing to go to Windows 11. 3 of my computers are running Windows 10, and I'm not going to update them until I absolutely feel that it's necessary, which sucks because if you guys aren't paying attention, you can't actually officially buy a Windows 10's license, at least from Microsoft, anymore. That ended at the end of last month, and so if you want to buy Windows 10, you're going to basically now be forced to potentially buy an aftermarket CD key, which may or may not work, and we only have support for max 2 more years before the platform's gone entirely. So the fact that there may be a penalty to people who don't want to adopt Windows 11 is another mark against AMD. And I understand that it's for optimization. Intel did this with their 12th and 13th gen for Windows Scheduler, like to get better optimization for all of their P cores and E cores so that you got the best performance possible. But there are a lot of people who don't want to go to 11, and shoehorning people in that decision is a mark against both companies, in my opinion. And here's the thing, guys, I work for a computer company. Like, all these things I'm talking about are things I kind of hear around the water cooler anyway. And so it's just one of those things where, be aware, this year might be a little rough if you're a gamer. Like, there's going to be good choices in the used market for pricing on hardware if you're willing to take those risks, like I am. But for people who are not comfortable, for new options, the value of a lot of this stuff may not be the best, and unfortunately I don't know if that's going to change for the rest of the year. Now, I do want to end on a positive note. Intel Arc recently released a new driver update. There's a great video you can watch over at Gamers Nexus that goes over all the nitty gritty, but dropping their price on their A750 to $250, and with this driver update making it very competitive in the mid-range tier, is fantastic. This is what we need. We need companies that are willing to provide good products at a fair price and drive the market down from this crazy high-end $1,500, $2,000 GPU nightmare that no matter what we seem to do, it just can't escape. Like, good for Intel for doing something that is going to benefit consumers, and those Intel Arc GPUs aren't bad. Again, they're just fine-tuning it. So again, competition, fantastic. I'm all for this. So there you have it, guys. That's the biggest tech news over the last week. If you enjoyed this video, leave me a big thumbs up. If it was trash, leave me a thumbs down. Remember to get subscribed, hit that bell icon so you know when these videos drop next. Remember to enter that $70 Steam gift card giveaway that's going to be going on all month. I personally am looking forward to games like Hogwarts Legacy. There's a couple other ones coming out later this year that I'm looking forward to. Zelda. There's a bunch of stuff I'm looking forward to. So hopefully whoever wins that, it benefits you. And as always, guys, I hope to see every single one of you next time here on Geared Inc.